Well, greetings and welcome back, blade lovers. OG Blade Reviews with you once again. Well, yeah, I know you're not believing your eyes. I've got a cold steel knife on the table, fresh in from White Mountain Knives, where you can get 10% off with my discount code OG-Blade, just in case you didn't know. And that's off your entire order, not just one knife, in case you were wondering. Well, I got this in because I was real interested after seeing some reviews and other descriptions of this type of locking mechanism. It's called the Atlas lock. This is the Karve, I would say, aside from the Mayhem, which I don't have and came out fairly recently. This knife is, I think, within about 6 months old, as far near as I can tell. The design and it being dropped on the market. But the Mayhem is the largest. I was going to say this is the largest. This is a 3 3/4 inch blade. Some of the other Atlas lock offerings from Cold Steel are a bit smaller, and those names aren't front of mind at the moment. I can't keep too much front of mind. That's what happens when your mind gets a little crusty, but you got to keep using it and it stays sharp and fluid. Just like a knife, you got to sharpen it once in a while, right? The Karve with a K, and there is your model number FL-38VK. It is a cold steel knife. They're running around $120 roughly on White Mountain. And there she be. Now, I'll give you kind of a, I'll give you my end result on this. That's what I'm trying to say on the Karve. This may very well be, after handling it for a few days, this may very well be in my regular EDC rotation, if not the EDC knife for a while. And I'll get to that as to why I think so. You may or may not think so. We've all got different styles of knife carry, knife use, and we've got our own tastes, so to speak. A lot of that could be visual. A lot of that could be ergonomic. A lot of that could be the way you use the knife. But there is the Karve, the only flavor that they're making, as far as I know right now, is the black stone washed AUS 10A, AUS 10A. It is not a bad steel. So for those of you that are disappointed you didn't get S35VN, you didn't get M390. I don't think the Cold Steel's done any knives in M390, but they have done them in S35VN. Quite a few of the larger, more premium knives are done in S35. This is made on Taiwan. That is not China. That is what used to be called nationalist China back in the day when I went there in 1976 on a martial arts tour. Great people. Anyway, don't want to jump up on that soapbox. It's a G10 handle, nicely done in kind of two sections here with the milling, kind of a slicker section here that's rounded over rather than just chamfered, and it is very, very comfortable. And you've got a built-in big old stop here, call it a guard if you want, for your finger not to slide forward. I almost just did, so I wasn't gripping the knife. That's kind of stupid. There's no jimping on the back of the blade. You may or may not cotton to that, but it's just fine for me. You know, I think it could have used it personally. It would have been nice. If nothing else, it's a nice tactile feel that gives your thumb a place to rest. It is a Wharncliffe or sheep's foot style blade, depending upon your nomenclature. It's a little more sheep's foot, although it's a clip. And it is nicely done because they were able to make this both a piercing, thrusting blade that could be very useful for that, as well as a point cutter and a utility knife. Looking at that edge here, you actually have a slight belly, okay? Very slightly. And you should be able to see that without me rocking it on a flat surface, but that is the case. Grind is flat and it's about halfway up. We have, are they T8s? I happen to have this set nearby, so why don't we check it just so I'm honest about that. Pulling out my bits. Here's a T8. Yep, that is a T8. These are the Weeha bits that come highly recommended. And little bit loose. Bump it up a notch. T9. Could it be a T9? Yep, T9 fits. Could it be a T10? Wow. Okay. Pay dirt. T10. T10, folks, on the pivot. Only on the left side of the knife. And it's looking like the body screws here. Find my T8 again. I know this gets a little tedious when I do this on camera, but ooh, that's small. That could be a T6. Let's try a T6. Yeah. Did I take that out of frame? My apologies. Yep, T6. And a T6 for the clip screws. That's interesting. So I never expected that, and I never expected to be measuring the torques on camera, but there we are. T10, T6. Quite a difference, quite a jump of 4 sizes between the pivot and the body screw and clip screw. Okay, we'll go on. Here we have a very unusual provision for a lanyard, but at the same time, it can be a pretty effective persuader should you want to use that. Now the Atlas lock itself, beautiful, nicely jimped, just sharp enough, really gives access easily. Get out there a little more. I will say that the detent is soft if you want to say that it has a detent at all. It is kind of like what you'd experience on many crossbar locks. Okay, it's soft, but it definitely keeps the blade in there. Okay, when you flip it out, you can roll it out beautifully, softly, no problem. And I would recommend, unless you hold it this way and then bring it the rest of the way in, don't use your thumb on this, because in using the thumb to close it, that's going to end up right on your finger if it drops all the way. However, if you drop it part of the way, you should be okay. Still, I'm going to use the finger and even the finger to open it. Very nice. So it's a fidgety knife with regard to that. Cold Steel has tested the strength of this lock with 700 pounds pressing on the back of the blade while everything is clamped here in place. You may never need to realize that amount of strength, because I don't know of anyone, world's strongest man or whatever, whomever, who can hold 700 pounds here in a knife grip fashion while 700 pounds comes across here. But it is just proof that this knife is not going to fold when you don't want it to fold. So a veritable fixed blade. We're going to get into measuring because I've gone on 10 minutes already. And lately I've been doing a lot of 20-minute videos. I don't really relish doing those, but I like to get all the info out to you guys. Overall length, we're going to call it 8 3/4. And blade length to the farthest forward portion of the handle, we're going to call that just shy of 3 3/4. Cutting edge, again, a little less so. And if we went all the way up here, we could get 4 inches. But that's a moot point. Let's put the calipers on it. I'm stacking stuff over on the side and making it harder to get to things. Millimeters we've got. 3 point, well, what is it? What do you want to be? 3.7 inches. 0.15, thought so. Middle of the handle, try that again, 0.57. Finally, the weight, real easy to close and open 2 hands, by the way. We shouldn't forget about that method of opening knives. Not everything has to be acrobatic. In grams, as I've been doing, call that 170 grams. Coming around to ounces, almost 6 ounces, 5.99. Let's call that 6 ounces, shall we? All right, so a 6-ounce knife, but you know what? Doesn't really feel like it. And it's interesting, this locking mechanism. I did bring up here, since I'm not breaking this down, here is the Atlas lock from the Cold Steel page, which you can see is, and I noticed that both, we'll just say Jared Neve of Neve's Knives did an excellent breakdown of it, as far as I can recall. Yeah, and there was one other, and I'm sorry if I can't remember the name of the channel that was on. And some did a compare of the Triad lock with the Atlas lock. But there are 2 pins up here. There's a sliding bar, and when it's locked up, the bar and the blade kind of capture that front pin. You can see a close-up of it here. So it's sort of squeezed or sandwiched in there, providing the strength. And what they say is the stop pin buffers against and redistributes the force of the blade. I'll scroll through here. I'll leave you the link so you can get out there yourself. All right, so that's about the Atlas lock without getting too far into it. It is a super strong lock. Cold Steel is calling it slightly stronger than the Atlas lock. Speaking of which, Formax Scout using the Triad, not Axis lock. I meant to say Triad lock. The Triad lock on this guy, on the Formax Scout, and just a little bit sticky. And one thing I notice about the Cold Steel Triad locks is I've got some that are perfectly smooth. You can push your thumb on it and it goes right in. Others are very sticky and difficult to push that down. But yeah, I can do it with one thumb, especially on the left hand. There you go. I just don't want that thing to swing into my finger, because once you release that fully, it starts swinging. All right, so you can see that the Formax Scout is a good 1.5 inches longer overall than the Karve, and the blade is about 3/4 of an inch longer or so. This is a full, 4 inch? Yeah, 4 inch, a little bit more, 4 1/8. knife. And we also have the Scorpion lock in the AD15. So both the Atlas lock and both the Triad, the Atlas, and the Scorpion lock are all Andrew Demko inventions. Great for Cold Steel to have him on board, for sure. Scorpion lock is quite a bit different than the others. You're lifting up on the bar. You've got a big old notch in the blade. See, this is all visible. You've got a pin right here, and that pin is captured by the bar, and the blade is captured by the bar right there. Very interesting. Pin there and a pin in the top lock of the Scorpion lock. With the idea being, when you're gripping it, you're adding even more force to what the spring is providing here. I did read of one or two people that complained that their spring either got too loose or failed on this lock. I haven't experienced that, but then again, this hasn't seen a lot of carry, as you can see. But it definitely feels strong. No wiggle on any of these guys. It's ridiculous. Finally, Vision FG from Civivi. This is the SNEC Super Lock by SNEC or SNECs or whatever you want to call them. This purportedly came out a little before the Shark lock, but everybody's going to argue that. You've got your favorite lock, you got your favorite designer, and everybody's going to claim something. So it's kind of more popularity contest sometimes than factual. But we're going to say that this came out maybe a bit before the Shark lock. But then again, who knows? Steels on these guys, in case you're interested. Nitro V, S35VN. Yep, S35VN, a little more premium knife. AUS 10A, AUS 10A. Get them packed up. I do like just the looks and feel of the 8015. And this is just a beast. I mean, this is a giant knife. And I would say really of all of them, this is going to be the guy that's going to be with me for the next few weeks, and we'll see how it goes. I tried the pocket clip out, even though we've got these really high set domed screws with a surface mount. And by the way, yes, you lefties, it's switchable to the left side. But the clip being short, the way that it is done up here gives me also something to pull on to get it out of the pocket. And if you don't squeeze real hard, you're not adding extra pressure to your pocket. So very, very tight spring, but I was able to get it in my tactical pants without too much problem, and also pull it out. So that much I like, because one failing I find of especially titanium clip knives, milled titanium clips, is that they're just a beast to get in and out of the pocket. I know you can adjust them, and I have done that, but all right, that's just kind of an aside. What do we have for sharpness? Well, I haven't touched this up at all, so what you see is what you get. And first pass, second pass, third pass, really, really nice. Cold Steel puts a good edge on their blades, so my experience has been. Well, let me know what you think of the Karve by Cold Steel. A new knife, newer knife with the brand new axis lock. I like this lock for more convenient for me than the triad lock or any sort of other back lock. It sort of fits in the category between the super lock and the shark lock. It's kind of Cold Steel's version of that, and it is robust. They looked at the other two perhaps, and they went many steps further. Or it could be a unique Andrew Demko design. Don't really know. If I can fault them on anything, it's this somewhat wonky provision for the lanyard. Not sure I'm real big on it, but it doesn't seem to add too much length, and it can be used as a persuader in a pinch because the liner material is fairly thick. There you have it. Right now you're going to see my logo over here. It won't look like that, but it'll be close to that. And if you click on it, you'll be able to subscribe to the channel. Hope you do. And I'll be back soon. Don't forget to give this vid a like if you would. Take care. Stay safe.